In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who appeared in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the exalted Christ, and that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is our divine reminder, warner, and servant among us. My name is Lenore Muhammad, and this video presentation is of our MGT and GCC training unit, How to Cook, with an emphasis on home pressure canning and cooking. Assalamu alaikum. First, let us lay a spiritual foundation to explain why we're doing what we're doing. Allah says in the Holy Quran, Surah 3, Ayat 49, and make him a messenger to the children of Israel, saying, I have come to you with a sign from your Lord, that I determined for you out of dust the form of a bird. Then I breathe into it, and it becomes a bird with Allah's permission. And I heal the blind and the leprous, and bring the dead to life with Allah's permission. And I inform you of what you should eat and what you should store in your houses. Surely there is a sign in this for you if you are believers. In the Bible, with the story of Joseph in Genesis chapter 41, verse 35, and let them gather all the food of those good years that come and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through famine. So why canning? This is an exercise in how to eat to live. You are in control. You're in control of the quality of the food. You're in control of the ingredients that go into your batch of preserved goods. You know how fresh it is. It's economical. You save lots of money doing for self. And lastly, this is an act in response to the divine warning of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We are pressure canning and cooking and preserving our foods for our own survival. Let's review the items that you'll need to get started. This is a 21-quart aluminum pressure canner. It holds 7-quart jars. Don't worry about the pot being aluminum. We are only using it to process the jars. The canner comes with a canning rack to place in the bottom to keep the jars from sitting on the bottom of the pot. There is a dial gauge. When pressure builds up, the dial increases until it gets to the correct pounds per pressure for the recipe. There's a pressure regulator and also an air vent. There's a vent plug in case of emergency if there's too much pressure in the pot. There's a locking top and rubber gasket to seal in the pressure. Arrows indicate how to open and close the pot. This is a 21-quart water bath canner. It's just a large pot. It comes with a wire basket so that jars do not sit flush against the pot. It also has a top with 2 vent holes to cover the pot as the jars are processing. You don't have to purchase a water bath canner as long as your pot is large and deep enough to cover the jars with at least 1 inch of water, and that's fine. Just place a towel on the bottom or line the pot with a few canning rings on the bottom to keep the jars from sitting directly on the bottom of the pot. Your pressure canner comes with a manual that has safety instructions, maintenance tips, and recipes. Consult your county extension agent to find out the altitude for your location, or you can look up your altitude for your city on the internet, and you can find any adjustments that you may need to make in your canning times. The adjustment for altitude can also be found in your canning manual. You'll need a canning book that has instructions and also recipes. You'll need canning jars, and they come in different sizes. Most times you can purchase them and they come with the tops and rings. You'll need a tong. You'll need a magnetic lid lifter, a jar lifter, a funnel, ladles, also a debubbler, cleaning towels for wiping the rims, a jar wrench for tightening jars, also oven mitts for picking up hot items. Let's get ready to can. Before you wash your jars, be sure to inspect them for damage. You'll be looking for chips and cracks along the rim. You want to wash your jars thoroughly in hot soapy water, being sure to rinse them thoroughly as well. You can also use an automatic dishwasher. If you do, use the sanitized cycle. In order to sterilize the jars, place them in water, making sure they're immersed, and bring them to a boil for 10 minutes. In order to sterilize the lids, immerse them in water and bring them to a simmer. Turn off and keep hot until you're ready to fill your jars. Let's get started with canning the navy bean using the pressure canner. This is the navy bean. It has numerous health benefits. You can refer to the books by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, How to Eat to Live, Book 1 and 2, and also our How to Cook manual. You want to pick out the bad beans before rinsing and soaking. Make sure to wash your navy beans thoroughly. There's usually a lot of dirt on the beans when they come out of the bag. Rinse the beans repeatedly until the water runs clear. For this demonstration, we've soaked the navy beans for at least 4 hours. I prefer to soak mine overnight. For canning, we are only parboiling the beans, as the beans will become tender and fully cooked during processing. Use a funnel to keep from spilling liquid and beans on the side of the jars. Use a spoon or a ladle to fill your jar. Fill the jar with 2/3 beans and 1/3 liquid, leaving 1-inch head space. Use your debubbler to get out any air bubbles. Wipe the rim of the jar with a cloth. Use the magnetic wand to place the lids on, careful not to touch the jars. Once you get the lid on, you can screw the ring on by hand or by using the jar wrench. Use caution as the jars are very hot at this time. You can make a finished navy bean soup and can that as well. Make sure you use a funnel and ladle in your soup. Use the debubbler and wipe the rim. Place your lid and ring on. Screw on firmly, but don't over tighten. Using the jar lifter, place your filled jars into the pressure canner on the rack. Fill the pressure canner with water according to the instructions in your manual. Place the lid on by lining up the arrows. Once you turn the canner on and bring it to a boil, the steam should start escaping from the vent. Allow the canner to vent for 10 minutes with a steady stream of steam. Then, depending on your pressure canner, if you have the dial gauge, place the pressure regulator on the vent. Bring the pounds of pressure up to 10 or whatever your recipe calls for. If your canner is a weighted gauge, you will simply set the dial for 10. Process your food for whatever amount of time your recipe calls for. In this case, it's 1 hour and 30 minutes. Be sure to consult your manual for your type of canner and the correct processing times for your recipes. Once the processing time is complete, turn off your canner and wait for the dial gauge to come all the way back down to 0. Do not remove the weighted gauge before time. Please consult your canning manual for instructions. Be sure to face the lid away from you when you are removing the top so that the steam will not burn you. Remove your beans from the canner using the jar lifter and place your beans on a towel. As you can see, the beans are still boiling. Are you ready to jam? Let's get ready to prepare our fruit for preserves using the water bath canning method. Make sure to wash your fresh produce thoroughly before preparing it to can. Chop your produce. Add your ingredients, sugar, lemon, or whatever you will use per your recipe. Today we are preparing a strawberry conserve. It can be used as a cake topping or pie filling. Consult your canning manual for the recipe. Use a funnel and fill the jars with your strawberry conserve. Use the debubbler to get rid of any air bubbles. Remember to wipe the rim. Place the top on and screw on the ring. Remember, not too tight. Load your filled jars into the rack. Place the rack in the canner and cover the jars with hot water 1 inch above the tops of the jars. Place the top on and bring the pot to a rolling boil. Start counting your processing time from this point. Turn the canner off and wait 5 minutes for the canner to cool slightly. Then, remove the jars and place them on a towel. Now, what is going to happen is that the jars will seal. Sometimes you can even hear a plinking sound. Here are our finished products: our navy beans, our navy bean soup, and our strawberry conserve. Be sure to remove the rings once the jars have cooled before storing them away. This can keep mold and rust from forming under the ring. Please refer to your manual for proper storage methods. How do you know the food is still good or whether it's spoiled? These 2 jars of salsa were canned at the same time. One jar is grayish brown, the other is still relatively bright red in color. One jar, you can tap the top and it's not moving. The other is bouncing, which indicates the seal has been broken or never sealed. Another indication is when you open the lid, there is mold present, also a foul smell. That is a clear indication that the jar and its contents should be thrown away. Praise be to Allah, we now have our finished product. We have our canned navy beans in a pint. This is a quart jar. And here you have your pint jar. Both of these jars, or all of them, are decorated as though we are presenting them as a gift. And you can do that, or you can store them away in a cool, dark place. We also have our jars with our preserves, which we will put in these boxes that can be stored again in your basement or a closet, a cool, dark place. Boxes are easy to lift and very compact. Thank you for watching this video presentation. I just want to restate at this time the importance of having a good manual, the proper tools. Following instructions is so key. Cleanliness and timeliness. I'd like to thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who is the head of the MGT and GCC class. I'd like to take this time to thank our student national captain, Sister Sandy Muhammad, and her staff. And I especially would like to thank the sisters of the MGT and GCC class who trained me on what you saw demonstrated today. I love you all, and I pray that you are inspired to take heed of the time and what must be done. May Allah bless you with success. Assalamu alaikum.